And we're off to the races. Once again, we're having a fantastic day with a minor hiccup today. My internet went bananas and it was insane. I couldn't log on like I normally do. But at any rate, I have another wonderful epic show today in the box right now. We're ready to unfold and unspool this episode. You guys, I have this great actor who is bi-coastal. He's Colombian. He's been on a slew of stuff. I mean, you name it, from Jane the Virgin on CW to Ghostwriter. His appearances on Ellen DeGeneres is obviously noteworthy to mention. The guy is unbelievable. He's an author of a fantastic book. We're going to talk all about it. He's Colombian born but lives here, resides in the States. You guys, it is my distinctive pleasure to introduce to you Andres Mejia Vallejo. Give it up for my boy.
What's up, Jim? It's so nice to see you, my friend.
Holy
Thank you
mother
for
of
that
God.
introduction. My God.
We finally made it happen.
Yes, we made it. I'm
Jesus,
so happy to be here with you, my friend.
My brother, thank you so much. My brother from another mother. I feel like the connection we have is obviously we feel like, you ever feel like you're an old soul, like you've lived 2 or 3 different lives and you've met someone in the past. Then now you're sort of it comes the world, life conspires and we come full circle and we meet this person maybe we met in another life. That's how I feel about you, brother. Seriously.
Oh, that's great energy. That's awesome, dude. Thank you for saying that.
I was talking to Juan the Prince, who obviously spoke volumes of you and said, man, he wants to come on my show. And I'm like, oh my God, I love to have him on the show. I wish you were here in person. But let's talk about, you're an author, you're an actor, first and foremost, you're athletic. You've done quite a number of things. You've been in some great shows and films. But right now you have a book out that's called The Upstairs Neighbor, From Rage to Forgiveness. Yeah. And you have it in dual languages, in English as well as Spanish.
That's right.
Tell us about this. It sounds to me like you started off on the wrong foot, or this person started off on the wrong foot with you, and then you guys managed to mend the fences, almost quite literally.
Yes, I mean, the first question I want to ask everyone watching is, do you guys have a bad neighbor? I feel like everybody has that bad neighbor that you want to kill, right?
Strangle.
And this book was written in a moment of frustration and despair, because I was literally going nuts with this person upstairs. It happens in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, California. The story talks about the urban living and the different things that you have to go through when it comes to living in such a big metropolis, in such a big city like Los Angeles, California. But on top of that, I stumbled upon this person upstairs who became my biggest nightmare. And in my sleepless nights, I decided to write. I always loved to write, and that was my way to
process it, deal with it,
to heal from the situation. And it became a book, and now it's tangible in 2 languages, and I'm very excited about that.
That's awesome. Now I have, it's crazy because you mentioned that. This is great because it resonates with everyone. So we used to live, back when I was younger, we lived in apartments, and the lady upstairs used to have an owl for a pet. If you can believe that. It was crazy. And we used to call her the witch, the witch from the east, because I lived in the east side of town. And so, I won't give up her name because she's not here to defend herself, but I will say she used to cause a lot of noises at night, like weird noises. Regardless, it could have been any time, given any given time, she'd be like every waking hour would have like noises and sounds from the owl. And when my mom wanted, God rest her soul, my mom wanted to end it, just get her with the broom, she would say. And I said, no, because she might take your broom away and fly away. It was my art, obviously art, kind of tongue in cheek kind of way we talk. You always have stories, but everyone can relate to your story, man. And that's so cool that you took pen to paper to write down in English and in Spanish. Did you also write it in Spanish?
Yes, of course. I first wrote it in English, and then I wrote it in Spanish. And it's funny you mentioned a witch because I have a character in my book that's
Uh-huh.
kind of a witch right here, and she lives next to me in my apartment.
Yeah.
I honestly, when I wrote this story, I wasn't thinking, are people going to relate to this? I just wrote it
Yeah.
because I feel the need to write it. But the more I talk about it, the more I interview about it, I feel like people just really relate to it. we all
Right.
have we all have that neighbor, and the story goes from rage to forgiveness, because of course at
Okay.
first you want to kill this person, and then as you say, we make amends, we become friends, but then something happens, and I'm not going to tell the audience so they can buy the book. It's
Yes.
fun, it's comedic, there's a lot of humor involved, and it's a relatable story.
So you had such a, your career has been incredibly like diverse from acting to TV production and even athletics. So you walk us through the key moments,
Yes.
that help shape your artistic journey.
I mean, the first thing that I gotta say is when you were raised, I'm not trying to tune my own horn, but that's
Yeah.
the way I was raised. I was raised a jack of all trades. My mom
Awesome.
was very proactive, very active, and she did a lot, and she did a lot, and she did everything great. And that's the way I was raised. I was in sports, arts, theater, music, literature. So when I reached 20, I had all this, set of skills that I was like, holy moly, I know how to do a lot. And
Yeah.
I started off as a producer and a publicist for the music business, and I dived into TV production. I built a great career as a producer. Then I did acting, then athletics. I've competed in a few TV shows around the
Wow.
world, and then now writing. Today was a really difficult day for me as well. It
Really?
was one of those days where I feel like my timeline of my life kind of went through my eyes today, and I was like, "Oh my God, I've done so much, but I'm still trying to really make it happen." And I started to see all the things that I've done. I've done so much, dude,
Yeah, you have.
but it's hard for me not to. I just feel like I have the personality that knows how to do a lot, so
They
I
call
gotta
it
go for it.
they call it the 9 to 5 and the 5 to 9, I think now.
Correct.
So you just
Correct.
it's a 24-hour almost nonstop extravaganza of work. Your work ethic
Yes.
is great, man. Keep it up. I really love that. So your music and literature. Let's talk about you have a love for music. You studied piano early on. Can you explain to us how that started? How did that all begin for you?
Well,
I'm
my mom,
curious.
my mom plays the piano, and some of my family members on my mom's side play the piano, and that's how I started to play the piano. I was 3 years old. I played professionally my entire childhood, and so that gave me the basis of music. Funny enough, about 2 years ago, I released my first song as a singer, and music has always been a part of my life. I'm very grateful because it gave me the musical knowledge
Ability.
that I needed as an
Yeah.
actor for theater. So that's how I basically started to play instruments because of my mom.
And when you did you always have a good voice growing up? Like did your mom tell you, son, you have a great voice, you ought to pursue music?
Well,
Or
it's funny because I feel like my voice is not good anymore. I feel like my voice used to be really good back then.
yeah,
I don't pursue singing right now. Singing, I know I can keep a tune, I can keep a note,
yeah,
but it's not really what I go after. When I was a child, I used to sing a lot in high school, in elementary school, in family gatherings. I definitely had that voice, and I'm sure I can get back to that if I want, if I do the training. It's not what I'm going after. But yes, because of the education that I was given, I feel like I had a talented voice, if
yeah,
that
this is
makes any sense.
great. That's why I call you you're like the jack of all trades and the master of all of them, because
Thank you.
you work hard at everything you do, and
I
you
really
tend to
do.
excel.
Yes, man, I've walked away from, partying. I've walked away from drugs. I've walked away from distractions. My closest friends, they know me. They know I'm a go-getter. I'm a little antsy when it comes to my dreams because when I want something, I don't have time. I don't have time to lose.
Yeah,
I'm
you
going
go
to cut
after
to
it.
the chase and I'm going to go get those things. And I left Colombia when I was 19. That was almost 20 years ago. And I don't
Yeah.
have time to waste, bro. It's already hard enough to leave my family behind. So I'm going to do whatever I can to win that Oscar, which is what I want.
I like that. I like what you said, and you're obviously your tenacious spirit, man. You have this way of thinking. like a go-getter. That's very that it's inspiring, but also very palpable. I can feel the energy almost coming through the screen, you know. And I really gotta say that I love I love your enthusiasm and the fact that you've only been here in this country for 19, 20 years, and you've done quite a bit, if I may add. And so yeah, you know, the grit and a lot of, would you say, was it hard transitioning due to the language, or did you always speak some level of English?
No, it wasn't hard for me to learn English. I knew a little bit in high school, and when I came to LA, to Miami at 19 years old, I had a little bit of knowledge of English, but it wasn't difficult so much learning the language. It was more like adjusting to the accent, especially as an actor. And like right now, I'm a little tired, so maybe my accent is thicker. But you know, in LA, when I go to auditions and they ask you, can you do an American accent? And the answer is no, I don't know how to do an American accent, but I can fucking act. So it's been an obstacle for sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely been an obstacle, and I feel like it's also been part of the reasons why I haven't gone further as an actor. But you know, today is one of those days when I went on a walk and I was thinking about my life and my career and how can I reinvent myself, because I don't want to give up. And I just have this gut feeling in my heart that keeps telling me, keep going. It's okay. You're gonna get to where you want to go. And so I know there's something out there for me. And for everyone watching, I know it's hard, dude. It's hard. I get it. It's tedious. It's sometimes degrading and frustrating when you go and you work so hard and you don't really get the results that you want. I understand that. But sometimes we have to grant ourselves the time to be defeated, to be bored, to be sad, just for a few hours, for a few days maybe, but then dust it up and keep going and get back on track, because your dreams, that's what keeps me motivated, dude. I'm single right now. I don't know when this interview comes out, if I'm not single anymore. Right now I'm single, and my family's away from me, and all I have is my bucket of dreams, and that's what keeps me alive every day.
I love that, man. I could see that you were brought up with good parents that inculcated you a hard work ethic, and to keep the dream alive, but not just to dream it, but to actually make it a reality. How hard was it for you to land? Did you remember landing your first gig here in the States, in a production, be it in the theater production or acting on television? Do you remember the first time?
Well, if we're talking about acting, yes, I remember. It was years ago when I quit my production career and I decided to focus on acting 100%. And I actually have a web series on YouTube where I documented my entire transition in my story from production to acting. And I remember going to commercials auditions, to infomercials, theater, TV, movies, everything. And I don't remember particularly the first one, but I do remember the big ones like Jane the Virgin, Apple TV. There's a few more that slip my mind, but Jane the Virgin, I auditioned 7 times before they actually finally cast me.
Holy cow!
Yeah,
7 times.
7 times.
It's the 7 times. You know, it's the 7th is a lucky number, dude.
Yes, yeah.
And you never gave up, which is quite amazing.
Never gave up.
Yeah,
never give up.
That's an inspiring story if I ever heard one. Now, is this the same Jane the Virgin where you had what's his face, the Mexican actor in there?
Yes. It was the same one. I never had a scene with him or with Gina Rodriguez, which was the lead girl. I did meet her before the show came out, but yeah, that's the same show. I was very proud to be on that show because it was a big, a
huge deal, man.
Huge deal for me, for my acting career, for everything. So I was very, very blessed. And then Apple TV came about. We shot in Canada. That was amazing as well.
Wow, you got to travel. Beautiful.
I got to travel. But yes, my career has been long in many different fields, and in every single field I've had a great deal of success, which comes with a lot of work, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of effort. And the biggest effort, and I'm going to let you talk about this, is the biggest effort has been just adjusting to a new culture and leaving my family behind.
Yeah.
That that kind of kills me every day when I wake up and I go, okay,
Right.
one more day away from my family.
Yeah. I mean, but do you do travel back and forth, right, to visit family?
I
Yeah.
do. I do go a lot. At this point, I'm an American citizen. Thank God. I mean, a U.S. American citizen as well, so that's helpful. I do go whenever I want. But right now, I'm in a moment of my life where I just can't take the liberty to just go to Colombia for a few months and just be in my farm and do nothing. I gotta stay really focused on my acting career
So you
or my,
mentioned a farm.
my careers.
Is your family from a farm? Is that like a rural part of town or
Right. So we're not from a farm, but I grew up between the city and the farm, and we do
okay?
have a farm, away from the city
That's
where
beautiful.
it's beautiful.
You guys go retreat there
Yes.
and enjoy the beauty of the
A lot of
outdoors and stuff.
animals,
Yeah,
nature,
that's beautiful. And then
food quality.
how about growing up? Were your parents strict?
So my parents got divorced when I was 4 years old, and I was raised by my mom mostly, and she was extremely strict, extremely disciplined. But
Yeah,
it wasn't so much with us; it was with her. She was such a go-getter, bro, and she was so determined to achieve all her dreams, and she did. So that gave me that influence, that energy. I grew up like seeing her succeed,
yeah.
as an athlete and as an intellectual. I mean, I don't know, she was a teacher. And so I feel like I absorbed that energy. And I'm exactly the same way, just like my mom. Go get her.
Wow. Yeah, you don't stop, it seems.
I
And
don't. I
and
don't.
you never will to get that Oscar. I think you will get that Oscar because it's the folks that really go all in, head first, and they dive in, go for broke, that really get to that other end, and they get to relish in those moments, such as the Oscar ceremonies and others as well, the SAG award and stuff. So as a Colombian, like, let's see, as a Colombian actor, you participate in so much, both English and Spanish language. Which one do you prefer the best?
I think in English. It's
Okay.
funny because I do have an accent, I understand, but I mostly think in English. When I write, I create and I write in English. And
Okay.
oftentimes it's easier for me to communicate in English. But I mean, Spanish is my first language, so of course I can switch. I love I love acting in English.
Okay.
It's so much fun. Both languages really, it's
Yeah.
easy. And I want to go back to the Oscar because I don't know who's watching this, but I don't want people to get the wrong impression. I don't want to just win the Oscar. I feel like what comes behind the idea of winning an award, it's of course the recognition, self-recognition, because you worked so hard for something, and then that's a
Most
way to,
definitely.
it's like it kind of packages it in. Okay, great, I won the Oscar. That's awesome. My efforts paid off. But I also want to help, bro. I want to help. There's something about myself. I love listening to people. I love helping people like break down their problems so they can find their solutions. And I think that one of the reasons why I want to gain recognition is not just because I want, the recognition itself. I want to be able to give back. I want to be able to help people. And so with the Oscar comes, of course, some sort of power. And with that power, I want to do meaningful things.
That's fantastic. You talk about helping. Are you part of any organization, or do you like to, on maybe weekends, go and devote some time on off, volunteer maybe in a nonprofit, perhaps?
So I am not part specifically from of any organization or nonprofit, but I feel like I have my own organization and nonprofit going on with myself. Let me explain. I do go out on the streets and I try to feed the homeless as much as I can. There's actually I have a buddy homeless here in Miami. I just met him a few months ago, and we keep
Right.
running into each other. And he seems so nice. And every time I see him, I give him money, and he has my phone number. I try to talk to people when I see them on the streets, on the floors. I try to talk to them and see how can I help. It makes me want to cry, bro, because I know mental health is a big thing, and
It really
not
is.
everybody gets the education that I was given, and even with the education that I received, I suffer a lot from past traumas, and I try to listen to my friends. I pay attention when they need when they have a problem. I don't just take that for granted. I send them long messages and I try to help them. So I'm trying to give back as much as I can with whatever I have.
Yeah, you sound like you have a big heart, and my heart goes out to all the people out there struggling specifically with mental health. I know a few people myself, and I too like to help those in need whenever I can. How hot is it right now in Miami? Just
Miami is
curious.
not so hot. It's not so hot at all. It's actually really really cool. It's fresh. It's nice. The heat
Yeah,
hasn't really hit yet.
not yet,
No,
because it has here. Now, do you like LA or Miami better?
that's a great question. Really, really great question. Listen, I moved to Miami when I was 19. I lived in Miami for 7 years. Then I moved to LA. I drove from Miami to LA. It took me
Beautiful.
18 days to get there. And then I lived in LA for almost 13 years. And now that I'm back in Miami for about 3 months, I got to tell you, if I had to choose, I think I would stay in Miami.
Why?
The food, I'm Latin, the Cuban food, the Latin food,
I
that
like the
that's
kids.
like a must. The ocean, for some reason, I love California. Don't get me wrong; it's a beautiful state, and also because it's close to my heart. Because I was here in my early 20s,
Right.
so it feels like home for me.
Right. Those are
That's
your
why.
humble beginnings here in the United States. This is where you landed, touched base here. You settled in for the first time in Miami. So I
But
understand. I can understand that. Go
as
ahead.
an artist, as a producer, as a writer, and as an actor, LA has been amazing.
Yeah.
It gave me so much, so much strength and knowledge, and it just gave me a lot of information for my career. You know,
Yeah.
so LA, I mean, LA is amazing. California is beautiful.
Where about LA did you live?
Uh, a little bit of everywhere: the Valley, West Hollywood, Los Feliz,
Nice.
yeah,
I like Los
Pacific
Feliz.
Palisades, a little bit.
I lived in Silver Lake once upon a time, close to Los Feliz. My son went to high school in Los Feliz, so very. I like that town a lot. Actually, it's so close to everything, and I live in the
My
valley now.
son, you're so
You know,
young.
huh?
How do
Yeah, I
you have
wish
a
I
son?
was. I'm 48 now.
Oh gosh, you
My
look very
son,
young.
thank you. My son is 20. He's gonna be 21. Funny
Oh,
enough, in 2 days he's be 21. So in the
happy
27th.
birthday to him.
Thank you. Yeah, he's quite. I'm super proud of him. As you know, I don't know if you have children, but
No,
I
I'm not
super
going
proud
to.
of my son. He's in college. He's running for president of the university, and he's super. He shows just with his work ethic, his school pride, and the fact that he's always a go-getter and he has the right spirit. And
No,
yeah, man, I really appreciate that. Yeah. No, we live in the valley and it's hot. Today it's hot as hell, man. It's
yeah,
insane how hot it is today. Yeah. It's 91 where I live. I live in Woodland Hills.
yeah.
And I used to live in Reseda and Van Nuys. I lived all throughout the valley. But this is the hottest point of the valley. No joke. It's like another 5 degrees from.
Yeah.
So it's hot, and then now like it's almost like it's like this is the oven. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like
I know.
everywhere else is the top of the stove, the stove top. And now we reached the valley, underbelly, the oven. No, but we're baking today. But I'm sure
I'm
it'll.
sure.
We're far from it. But Andres, I really love that. Um, your name, man. Your name is so cool, Andres.
It's kind of hard for Americans, well, U.S. Americans, to
No,
pronounce it.
actually, I'm Latino. I'm a Jewish Latino,
Oh,
and my dad's from Mexico. My dad. Notice how I use the Spanish, accent. My dad is Mexicano. My dad is from Durango, La Mesa del Rodeo. My grandmother's cousin was Maria Felix, actress.
ooh,
Yeah, yeah, man. I
yeah,
have roots in Mexico, bro.
look at you, Mr. Celebrity.
Yeah, no. Well, now I'm a celebrity because I'm hanging out with you.
Oh, come on. I'm
When
the
you come,
celebrity because I'm hanging out
when
with
you
you.
Let me tell you something, man. As you know, fame is all fleeting. It's a fleeting thing, but the
It
most
is.
important. Well, I hear great stories about it, but thank you very much. But no, I'm humbled because at the end of the day, you have to love what you do, and it sounds like you enjoy acting. I love talking to people and enriching. It enriches my life, and it's a kind of symbiotic kind of thing because I enrich your life. By talking to you and you talking to me, I feel like we're learning from one another, and then vicariously people learn from our conversation, because that's my idea, man, to showcase all the talented people and friends. And I don't get a whole lot of Latinos on here, so I enjoy getting my Latino people on here to talk and discuss. When I ask you things, obviously I know the struggles, but I like other people through the lens of your particular case, your experience, to learn from you, learn from how rich the culture is. Let me ask you, do you find that Hollywood has done enough for Latino actors and Latino creatives as a whole, as a collective?
I mean, I always see Latino creatives succeeding in Hollywood, so I don't want to say no, because I do feel like there's an opportunity out there. It's just challenging.
Yeah.
It's a very challenging career.
It is. No matter what, it doesn't matter where you come from. It's usually typically it's a big challenge. It's a big contest, right?
Yeah,
Basically,
and I don't want to be the Latino actor that's saying, "Oh, Hollywood doesn't do enough for us."
Right.
I don't want to play that part, dude. It's kind of like overrated.
Right.
Just keep working, just keep improving, and you'll get there.
Right. So you keep improving your craft. How do you improve your craft, by the way?
I'm always putting myself on camera. I'm always auditioning or booking and doing things like that. I'm taking always workshops as an actor. I actually coach acting as well.
Oh, you do?
Yes, I do. Right now I'm taking a break, but I have coached before recently. So of course, when you coach, you have to learn so you know how to teach. And I've done live stage and stand-up comedy, and that's a great way to stay.
Fun. Yeah, to put yourself out there.
Absolutely. I'm also big on social media, doing TikTok stuff. It just keeps me active. Right now, I really want my next opportunity as an actor so that I can put a stamp on the industry and a stamp on my career. But I try to stay very organized with a portfolio, with my Instagram, with my socials, and just very, very optimistic and very positive with my energy. That's one characteristic about me.
I noticed.
Optimistic. I get bored. I of course get sad. Of course I get, deflated. But it only lasts for so long.
That's right, because there's a famous adage out there that says, "This too shall pass."
Yeah.
Right? As you know very well. So it's not forever. Nothing lasts forever. And so the way to turn it around, I think, is to try to keep positive, keep working, and keep busy. And it sounds like you do a lot of that, my friend.
And also I do a lot of spiritual work, and I feel like one of the biggest things in spirituality is how to vibrate positive energy, and so that starts to translate in the way you walk, in the way you talk, in the way you co-create with people talking, because we're co-creating right now, co-creating good energy. So it starts to become positive energy.
Yeah, most definitely. And then you exceed it and somebody else picks it up.
Yeah.
And then mirrors it. Hey, man, I was going to ask you something, Andres. So I was going to ask you, who have you worked with that's really captivated you, that's taught you something, maybe took away, speaking of positiveness, who was giving you good advice? And what was something that still stands out in your mind early on here in the States?
I have to go back to my production career. I give it to my bosses in music and production behind the scenes, because they gave me so much freedom. Clara Paulo is her name. She was a PR in music, in Universal Music. And then Gabriela Coco Sanchez, another boss of mine, and I hope they watch this video. They gave me wings, and the work ethic that they taught me, and the discipline, and they took me to sets and multi-million productions, and I worked with huge musicians, and that gave me a lot of power as a producer, and I'm very thankful with them because of that.
Wow.
Behind the scenes, I built a really great solid career behind the scenes, And I'm very grateful, and I'm so grateful as an actor to have been a producer before becoming an actual. Well, I was an actor growing up, little, in elementary school and in my teens. But as professionally, um, production was my first milestone.
Yeah. So what's the difference, or how does one start with the production? Like, where do you start with it? With any kind of production, how does one start?
Well, the first thing that you want to have is a good idea. Whether it's an idea that you are recreating, which is called a format that's already been implemented somewhere else in the States or in a different part of the world, and you're trying to readapt that format that was already successful. Let's say Big Brother, a reality TV show. So you want to recreate that. So you want to have a good idea. And if it's not already been implemented, then you want to have a good idea that's promising.
Sure.
But of course, what I used to do as a producer was everything. So we evaluated, who's going to be the cast, who's going to be the camera operators, who's going to do the audio, who's going to be the sound, who's going to be the network, where are we going to shoot, what location. So we did everything. I think that if you want to be a successful producer, you want to learn how to wear so many different hats, how to know about so many different things. And I was lucky enough to be the right hand of big time producers and executives. So since I was the right hand of them, I had to learn so much and I had to do so much. And since I'm a little crazy and proactive, I did everything and they loved it.
You're prolific, bro.
And they loved it. I started in Miami in TV, and when they hired me, I was going to be assisting the executive producer, and I said, "Listen, I'm going to be the best assistant you've ever had, but let me produce, let me go on the field, let me go on the floor, and live TV shows every day." They said, "But how are you going to do it?" I said, "Don't. That's my problem. If I don't do it well, fire me." And they loved me. So, that energy, that proactivity is what kept me alive in the world of production. And to answer your question, you just have to be very meticulous, very specific when it comes to production. It's a very difficult question to answer at once.
Right.
It's a few elements.
Yeah, there's just a lot of moving parts happening. And it sounds like you were doing all those jobs.
All of them. I was even editing the sizzle reels.
Oh my God, dude. Are you for real? That's so cool, dude.
I was reading the scripts. My bosses at Bunim Production, huge production company.
Sure.
They gave me the scripts and they said, "Read this. We believe your opinion. If you like it, we'll look into it to produce it." And I was like, "Oh God." And I would stay after work, read the scripts and be like, "This is great. Let's do it." As a matter of fact, I read what's Sofia Vergara's latest hit on Netflix? La Madrina. What is it? The Godmother.
Yeah. The one she did with Colombia. No, hold on.
Yes. She's like a narco woman. I read that script. I don't know how many years ago.
Wow, really?
I told my bosses, "This is a great script. We should do it." And then look, it became a success.
That is a fantastic story.
Yeah.
I got to watch some of that. I thought she was good in that. She's a great actress. I liked her in obviously Modern Family, but I used to be a limo driver. I drove for many years. Occasionally I drive certain clients, and I drove a lot of rich and famous people here in the States. And I got to drive her a couple of times, and I really liked her style. She was really humbled. She never lost her footing, never lost the ground. She was always super gracious and nice every time. I saw her the twice that I saw her, and then once when I got invited to go see the show. I knew a writer on that show, Hot Properties. She was on that before Modern Family. So anyway, really cool, man. So that's crazy. You got privy to some cool stuff, and I think it's really amazing because to bring it all together, you've done every aspect of almost of what there's to do, as an actor in front and behind the camera, and then you write. Have you wrote? I mean, it begs the question: have you wrote a script that you've pitched, or you're in the throes of doing that, perhaps?
Yes, I have. I have a few things already written. As a matter of fact, I wrote a treatment
Okay.
for Sofia Vergara's brother in Modern Family back in the days, and I was trying
Wow.
to pitch myself to be her brother on the show. Um, but going back to doing so much and
Yeah.
having so many skills and talents, it can be a double-edged sword because
Right.
since I know so much, there's so much I can do. Sometimes I go, which direction do I want to take?
So,
Do I
which
want to
directions
write?
does Reds want to take?
Exactly. And since I know I can produce my own stuff, I can produce my own podcast, blah blah blah. Sometimes I
However,
go,
I think you like. It's fair to say you like to act. I think, and that will take center stage.
yeah,
Um, pun intended. But you're gonna definitely want to be on the boards. You want to, film. You want that excitement when you land something. You get a callback when you suddenly you're on a veil. All that. The feeling, and then you nab it. You freaking lock it in. I booked it,
yes,
and there's that sense of, oh wow, now you get to showcase what you've learned in
yes,
front of the TV. I just
right.
there's so much, or on stage, which is like jazz. Every time you go up there, you leave it on the line, and it's different. It's a different scenario each time for people to take away. So that's magnificent in and of itself. Andres, I wanted to ask you, who trained you? Where did you train your craft, your acting?
Yeah.
Where did you train here in Los Angeles, right? Or am I
I started my training in Colombia back in the days, and it comes from my family. Then I took some classes
okay?
from my 20s. Then in Miami, in my early 20s, I studied a little bit with Adriana Barraza, Mexicana.
Okay.
Um,
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
yeah, Adriana Barraza, she was in Babel, and she's got some
Oh
great
yeah, sure, sure. I know what
make
you're talking.
career. Then I went to LA because I'm in Miami. I went to LA. I did a lot of training. Live Book Acting Academy in the Valley. I've been to
Oh, the
Groundling.
Groundlings. Yeah, the
Yes.
comedy. It's good stuff, man.
Beverly Hills Playhouse. Reynaldo Pacheco, a great actor. He's trained me a lot.
Oh, I
Um,
I was I was part of his class.
nice.
Yeah, I was part of his class. Uh, I
Hapa.
did some classes on hop up back in the day, and I got to meet a lot of the folks. If you throw some names out, like Magali Castellanos, a good friend of mine. I
My
got
God.
to work. I got to work in some of her productions.
Amazing.
She did some short film, and then we did some short and sweet. I think short and sweet were part of that. They
Look at
do the
that.
theater every year, and it goes around the world. But then it comes around, and then I got to meet him a long time ago. Great guy, and then he had a lot of other friends that we have mutual friends. I had no idea you're part of that. That's really cool.
Reynaldo is like my brother, and
Okay,
we vibe not only acting wise but also spiritual wise.
sure,
He's very
yeah.
spiritual as well. I became a coach for his academy. Actually, that's
Oh,
who I
so
used to
you're part of
coach.
that.
I was. So I started
Wonderful.
as a student, then I
Yeah,
became a coach, and we're very proactive, always,
sure.
refreshing our knowledge. He's doing amazing. He's doing
Yeah,
great.
he's great, man. He's done quite a bit for himself. I remember like we would go into his classes and we do a lot of like spiritual work, like body kinesiology. We try to get in tune with ourselves, and then that was different classes that he'd have depending on which day you went, and then um, after that we would do some of the exercises that he had, and there was a lot of great folks on there. Jonathan Lev was there, who's a good friend of mine. I haven't
Jonathan, yeah.
talked to him in a long time, but another Latino Jew. He
Mhm.
he travels. I think he's back. Is he Colombian or
I think he's in Spain right now.
he's in Spain? Yeah, he's working over there. That guy works around the clock, man.
Yeah.
Another hard worker. Got to meet him, and we became friends. I haven't talked to him in a while. That's how good of a friend I am, though. But we see each other on social media. That's so cool, man. When you see Reynaldo, tell him I said what's up.
I
Good dude,
definitely
man.
will.
Yeah, and yeah, that's so great. It's freaking
Yeah.
amazing. Small world, right? I always know
Yeah.
somebody. I always seem to know the person I'm gonna talk to. We have small circles, and then we happen to overlap with, that's a friend of mine
Right.
too. That's wild. But this has been a great interview. I gotta tell you, Andres. I look forward to reading your book. Once again, let's talk. Let's give out the information on your book and where can people
Sure.
find it.
Yeah, I want to invite everyone to go to Amazon. It's in different territories worldwide.
Yeah.
Um, the upstairs neighbor, El vecino del segundo piso, same story, two different languages. If you've been to California, this is gonna, you're gonna relate to this. If you
Yeah,
haven't been
sure.
to Cali, this is a great way to get an idea of what life is like in Hollywood, California.
This is where you lived in Hollywood. Now, what where can people find you? Give us your social media handles.
Super easy. Yes, Andres. Yes.
Yeah,
Like
I love
sí,
it.
Andres, sí. Yes,
Andres.
Andres, yes.
It's great. You're very positive, and your positivity is just so influential. And I got influenced by you, man. Like I want
Thank
to
you.
author. I'm gonna buy your book. Is it on Kindle? Can I purchase it on Kindle?
No,
Okay.
it's not right now.
Okay.
It's only paperback on Amazon, so it's not on
Okay.
Kindle. You mean like digital, right?
Yeah, digital. Yeah,
Not
digital
yet.
format.
Not yet.
Okay. All right, cool. So then maybe what we'll do is I'll buy it, and then maybe you could when I meet you in person, perhaps you can get it autographed for me. I'd love to have
Absolutely,
your
man.
autograph.
Dude,
And
thank you.
you're 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 quite an amazing person, if I may say so. You're just like embodiment of a successful quintessential of a Latino that's working in Hollywood, making it happen. Your journey hasn't been easy. There's been so many hurdles. I want you to just leave us with this. What has been the hardest thing besides the obvious leaving your family behind? What has been some of the kind of a hard thing and the language barrier
Mhm.
that you have experienced here, besides your neighbor?
Funny. I think the hardest thing has been not letting failure, like the idea of failure getting in the way.
Right.
Just finding that, just not giving up.
And how do you not give up? What would be one of your ways of coping, your coping mechanisms when it tries to get in the way of success, when something that whatever it is creeps up, that weird voice and tells you,
Right.
oh, come on, man, you're not
Yeah.
really gonna go through with this. How do you overcome that challenge?
I think that I put myself in a pedestal and I put myself in a position of success that I'm like, I need to get there.
That's
I
awesome.
have to get there.
You
There's
know, it's
no other
funny.
way.
It's funny, Andres, because I do the very same thing. And do you use vision boards by any chance?
Oh yeah.
It's fantastic.
Oh my
Fantastic.
God. This is my life from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed. I don't do anything else.
Incredible. It's
My
incredible.
energy is always like this, and people, I
Always
don't know,
vibrating, huh?
people are always drawn to me and they tell me your positivity, your energy, everywhere I go.
Yeah.
Like Andres, you're like incredible. And I'm like, I'm not saying this because I want attention.
No,
Believe me,
right.
no.
No, no,
I'm
no,
saying
no.
this because this is who I am. And I work
Absolutely.
really hard to keep this positive energy.
Man,
I
you
do
blow
a
me away,
lot of
bro.
spiritual work.
Yeah. Do you
And I
pray
want
also? Do
people
you do a
to,
lot of
I do
prayer?
play. I don't want to be remembered only as an actor or an artist. I want people to remember me for my good energy. That means much more than any other career milestone. And
Yes.
when people like see me and they laugh and they see me and their eyes brighten, oh my gosh, that's it. I'm good.
Right. Because you made an impact. You've
Yes,
impacted somebody's life at the end of the day.
right.
That's fantastic.
Yes. And if I can inspire someone, man, this is why I do all these things that I do. I want to inspire people because I want to inspire myself. Every day I want to inspire I want, oh my God. I
So
think,
you inspire and help somebody, you've helped yourself, and also your kind of legacy lives on through other people.
yes,
When you help somebody book something, I bet it's like a feeling like none other,
yes,
because that's part of you, an extended part of you through the other person.
yes.
That's so magnetic, man, and
And I feel
magnetic.
like I have a skill. I feel like I have like
A
a
knack,
talent
a knack. Yeah,
for helping people. It's easy for me to help people.
yeah,
If
you
that makes
really
any
are,
sense.
man. You're just it's amazing, man. You're it's like you're just like this beautiful energy of light, that's helping, people along the way. And you're going very far, man. You're making a splash, bro. There's people that, I mean, you're just your face is really known, and you're gonna keep yourself going, moving forward. And moving forward, I know I'm gonna see you. And I know that guy. Andres is my best friend.
And like I want to say one more thing. I've gone through so much the last couple of years, emotionally, internally, that I'm just so excited for my next acting role.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna be able to apply all these emotional work that I've done into my character, and that's why I'm like, God, just send me that next role so I can give my best.
Yeah, I think it's around the corner, man. And good luck on that book. I can hardly wait to read it, because I told you I had for sure, my experience, or plenty of experiences, a plethora of people I can think of that lived, and then especially the ones of us that lived in apartments all throughout Southern California, and had an Alhambra apartment. And that was a very interesting one. You'll have to talk about that off camera sometime. But yeah, man, everyone can resonate. Everyone that lives in LA, specifically in Hollywood, or if you don't, it's kind of cool, because you could really get a bird's eye view of what Hollywood is like through the eyes of my good friend Andres Mejia Vallejo.
Gracias.
I had nothing but great things to say about you, my man. God bless you in every which way. You're a blessing to my heart. I've known you obviously just gotten to barely scrape at the top. I don't know you even remotely, but I mean, no pun intended, we're talking remotely. But I think that when I meet you, you have a brother in me, and I really appreciate your time on the show. Thank you for coming on Almost Famous Radio podcast.
Thank you so much. It was amazing to meet you.
Thank you, and God bless you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
That's my show, guys.